Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. You are in the temple?
I got back home.
Okay.
Radhika Kishore Mataji was there at the temple.
Oh, yeah. I was supposed to go, but actually got late last night because of the meetings.
Okay. I missed you.
यही श्रद्धाया बरषि भाग सोहवीर निरुक्तमिष्टम विधि मंत्र वस्तुतः एका पृथा नामभिर अहोत मुदा गृणाति पूर्णः स्वयं आशिषाम प्रभु. In India, Bharatvarsha, there are many worshippers of the demigods. The various officials appointed by the Supreme Lord, such as Indra, Chandra, and Surya, all of whom are worshipped differently. The worshippers of offer the demigods their oblations, considering the demigods part and parcel of the whole, the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts these offerings and gradually raises the worshippers to the real standard of devotional service by fulfilling their desires and aspirations. Because the Lord is complete, He offers the worshippers the benedictions they desire, even if they worship only part of His transcendental body. So, in India, as Prabhupada translated Bharatvarsha as, many people worship demigods, but they worship with this understanding that they are parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, and they follow the principles of their worship. Different demigods have different ways to be worshipped. And so, through the demigods, the Supreme Lord accepts the offerings. It is an indirect way. As Krishna says, they worship me but in a wrong way. Avidhi Purvakam. So, through the demigods, because of their desires, Krishna says, Kamesthestarita Jnana Prapadyantyanya Devata. They have various desires to be fulfilled, so they worship different demigods. And they follow the rules and regulations of the demigod worship. But actually, the Supreme Lord ultimately awards all the benedictions. The demigods are empowered because Supreme Lord, in the seventh chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddhaya architum ichchati tasya chalam shraddham mayeva, what is it, tasya chalam shraddham taneva vidadami aham. So he's saying that I'm giving that shraddha to the demigod worshippers. They want to worship certain demigod, whichever they want to worship. I am giving them the faith. And sataya shraddhaya yuktas, sataya shraddhaya tasya aradhana mihate. Uh, then once they have the faith, then they worship, and then labate cha tatha kaman mayeva vihitani tan. But I am the one who is actually giving them the benedictions. So all benedictions are coming from Krishna only. So it is directly to approach Krishna. Prabhupada gives the example that if we have nine holes, right? Our body has nine holes, so we can put food in any. Sometimes uh, food is fed through different holes, but actually the actual way to feed the body is to put the food in the mouth. Similarly, Krishna is the root. So to worship demigods is not correct. You worship Krishna, then all the demigods are satisfied. To worship demigods independently is okay because at least you are accepting that there is some authority, but it is not uh, recommended for the devotees. The devotees directly go to Krishna. If they have certain desires to be fulfilled, they directly go to Krishna. Bhagavatam also says, Akama sarva kamava moksha kama udarati. Even if you have material desires, you engage in Krishna's worship with great intensity. Don't go to the demigods. So So, because the Lord is complete, he offers the worshippers the benedictions they desire, even if they worship only part of his transcendental body. The demigods are considered the limbs of the body of the Lord. So, even if they are worshipped, Krishna is so kind that he gives the benedictions through the demigods. Okay, so let's see. In Bhagavad Gita 9:13, Lord Krishna says, Mahatmanastu mam partha devim prakritim ashritaha bhajanti ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Okay. Mahatmas, the advanced devotees, worship only the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Others, however, who are also sometimes called Mahatmas, worship the Lord as Ekatvena, Prithatvena. In other words, they accept the demigods as different parts of Krishna and worship them for various benedictions. Although the devotees of the demigods thus achieve the desired result offered by Krishna, they have been described in Bhagavad Gita as Ritagyana, not very intelligent. Krishna does not desire to be worshipped indirectly through the different parts of his body. Krishna wants direct devotional worship. Therefore, a devotee who directly worships Lord Krishna through staunch devotional service, as recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajata Purusham Param, is very quickly elevated to the transcendental position. Of course, now, even if somebody is worshipping demigods, are they really following the rules and regulations of the demigod worship? That is because nobody is learned in Shastra nowadays. They just so. Nevertheless, devotees who worship the demigods, different parts of the Lord, receive the benedictions they desire because the Lord is the original master of all benedictions. So these are some verses from the Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, which describe the demigod worship. If anyone wants a particular benediction for the Lord to award, it is not at all difficult. So Krishna can fulfill all our desires. The difference between demigod worship and Krishna worship is that Krishna will evaluate whether that what you are asking is good for you, and then he may give, and but after removing your material desires. Like Dhruva Maharaj had a desire to take revenge, but he did not give him what he wanted. So he did not give him immediately what he wanted. So that's okay. So we'll read the next verse. Satyam dishatya arthitam arthito nrinam naivarthado yat punar arthita yataha swayam vidhate bhajatam manichyatam ichha pidhanam nijapada pallavam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead fulfills the material desires of a devotee who approaches him with such motives. But he does not bestow benedictions upon the devotee that will cause him to demand more benedictions again. However, the Lord willingly gives the devotee shelter at his own lotus feet, even though such a person does not aspire for it, and that shelter satisfies all his desires. That is the Supreme Personality's special mercy. So he may give the devotee what he wants, but then he does not ask for anything more because his material desires are gone. Like Dhruva Maharaj got everything what he wanted. But then, of course, he didn't even have the desire that I want this kingdom greater than my grandfather, great grandfather, which he started his worship of Vishnu with. That desire was so intense in his to take revenge. But when he saw the Lord, then he didn't want, neither did he want any further material. He was condemning himself. There are so many verses in the Bhagavatam where Dhruva Maharaj condemns himself and is saying that, why did I worship? Why did I start my worship with this kind of motivation? So, this is the difference. So, here it is saying that he will not cause him to demand because desires are endless. And as long as you have material desires, you have to take material body. You have to go from one life to another in different species of life. So the Lord makes us forget our material desires, material hankerings. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya chaham pridhi sannivishto matasmritir jnanam apohanam cha. He gives the forgetfulness. So that forgetfulness for a devotee is that he forgets all his material desires. Means all the material desires are of no importance to him. As Dhruva Maharaj says, no, Kacham vichinvan api divya ratnam swamin krithartho asmi varam nayache. So this is when you get higher taste in bhakti than all these other lower desires. Krishna makes you forget. You don't even, you feel them, they are very insignificant compared to devotional service. So that is Supreme special, personally special mercy. Okay, the devotees mentioned in the previous verse approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead with material motives, but this verse explains how such devotees are saved from those desires. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.10 advises Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajata purusham param. Whether one is freed from all material desires, is full of material desires, or desires to become one with the Supreme, he should engage in devotional service. In this way, not only will the devotee's desires be fulfilled, but the day will come when he will have no other desire than to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. One who engages in the service of the Lord with some motive is called Sakama Bhakta, and one who serves the Lord without any motives is called a Akama Bhakta. Krishna is so merciful that he turns a Sakama Bhakta into an Akama Bhakta. A pure devotee, an Akama Bhakta, who has no material motives, is satisfied simply to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 6.22. Yam labdva chaparam labham manyate nadikam tataha. If one engages in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord, he does not want anything more. This is the highest stage of devotional service. The Lord is so kind even to a Sakama Bhakta, a motivated devotee, that he satisfies his desires in such a way that one day he becomes an Akama Bhakta. Dhruva Maharaj, for example, became a Bhakta with a motive of getting a bigger, better kingdom than that of his father, but finally became an Akama Bhakta and said to the Lord, Swamin Krithartho Asmi Varam Nayache. My dear Lord, I am very satisfied simply to serve your lotus feet. I do not want any material benefits. So they don't want either gross or subtle sense gratification. These are the basically, two kinds of material desires. Either it is gross desire, means you want to bring the senses in contact with the sense objects, or there is subtle desire. Subtle desire means desire for worship, desire to be praised by others, labh, puja, pratishtha, desire to be respected by others. This is another. So, because he feels so much satisfied in himself with bhakti to the Lord that he doesn't hanker for these things. Like we give the example that if you are, if you have eaten a nice meal, you are not hankering if somebody gives you food or not. And because you already ate a nice meal and you are satisfied within. So if you are Atmaram, you are satisfied within, then it doesn't matter from outside whether somebody gives you respect or not, like that, because you feel fulfilled from internally. So that is the platform the pure devotee comes to. Yatmasu prasidati, because of his engagement in devotional service. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaje ahetukiya pratihata yat. He doesn't need anything from outside to fulfill himself, because he's feeling, by doing devotional service only, he feels so much happy that he doesn't need anything from outside. Karma means all these activities that we do because we are not fulfilled inside. We want things from outside to satisfy us, whether it be gross things or it be subtle things. Like gross things like, or objects of sense gratification, association with the opposite gender, or, you know, you need like a house, a big house, or a nice car, or you want to go to the so many different, eat nice food and so many things outside, you hankering for, to bring the senses in contact with the sense objects. So you are hankering for that. And on the subtle level, you are hankering, okay, everybody should respect me, everybody should honor me. And so that is, but when you are fulfilled at the soul level, these are at the mind level, mind and body level. Gross sense gratification is at the body level. Of course, through the mind only we enjoy, but the at body level, and then there is enjoyment at the mind level, which is like, subtle sense gratification of of labh, puja, and pratishtha. But when you are at the soul level, when you are experiencing happiness at the soul level and feeling happiness from connecting with Krishna, you don't hanker for this body and bodily happiness and mental happiness. So you feel satisfied within yourself. And then you can be happy in any situation, basically. You can be happy just with Krishna, reading Bhagavatam. And wherever Krishna Katha is going, you hear and you speak Krishna Katha and you're very happy. Shravanam Kirtanam. You're very happy doing Shravanam Kirtanam. So, my dear Lord, I am very satisfied simply to serve your lotus feet. I do not want any material benefit. Sometimes it is found that a small child eats dirty things, but his parents take away the dirty things and offer him a sandesh or some other sweet meat. Devotees who aspire for material benedictions are compared to such children. So they want to eat dirt or some other things which not supposed to be eaten. Then the mother says, "Why are you eating this? Let me give you nice." So we are like children. We are asking for so many material things in this world to become happy. But Krishna gives us his higher taste in devotional service. So that's like the mother giving the child a sandesh. The Lord is so kind that he takes away their material desires and gives them the highest benediction. Therefore, even for material motives, one should not worship anyone other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must fully engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord so that all his desires will be fulfilled, and at the end he can go back home, back to Godhead. This is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela. So let's see what are the verses. Anya kami yadi kare Krishnera bhajan namagi teha Krishna tare dena swacharan. If those who desire material enjoyment or merging into the existence of the absolute truth engage in the Lord's transcendental loving service, they will immediately attain shelter at Krishna's lotus feet. Although they did not ask for it, Krishna is therefore very merciful. So Krishna kohe ama bhaje mage vishay sukh amrit chhadi visha mage e bada murk. Krishna kahe ama bhaje, he is worshipping me, mage vishay sukh, he is worshipping me, but he is asking for vishaya. Vishaya is poison. Material happiness is like poison. Mage vishaya sukh, amrit chhadi visha mage. He is giving up amrit, which is my bhakti, but he is asking for some wish. A bada murk, he is so foolish. Krishna says if one engages in my transcendent loving service but at the same time wants the opulence of material enjoyment, he is very, very foolish. Bada Murk, not only Murk, but Bada Murk, it's great fool. Indeed, he is just like a person who gives up ambrosia to drink poison. Amivigya, I'm intelligent. I'm Amivigya, Krishna is saying. Ei Murkhe Vishaya Kene Diba. I am intelligent. Ei Murkhe Visha Kene Diba. Why should I give him Visha? Poison, material help. Swacharnamrita Diya Vishaya Bhulaiba. I will give him the taste in my devotional service. So he will forget his material happiness, his aspirations for material happiness. So one becomes detached. Bhakti pareshanubhav virakti anyatra chai. Initially it may not be, but as one practices bhakti and one gets higher taste, slowly and gradually, Krishna corrects the devotee, and slowly and gradually he understands that this is actually like a dream. This I'm what I'm asking, all these things is not real. Is my life is temporary here. And what I should be asking for is service of the Lord. So all these other things are not going to help me in the long run. So then, so Anya Kami, a devotee may desire something other than to service to the lotus feet of the Lord. Yadi kare Krishna ra bhajan, but if he engages in Lord Krishna's service, na magi teha Krishna tare dena swacharan. Even though he does not ask, Krishna gives him. Krishna gives him shelter at his lotus feet, even though he does not aspire for it. Krishna Kohe, the Lord says, Ama Bhaje, he is engaged in my service, Mage Vishay Sukh. But he wants the benefit of material sense gratification. Amrit Chadi Vishamage, such a devotee is like a person who asks for poison instead of nectar. Prabhupada is translated like here, the whole verse, in the purport to Bhagavatam. A Bada Murk, this is foolishness. Amivikya, but I am experienced. A Murkhe Vishaya Kene Diba, why should I give such a foolish person dirty things of material enjoyment? Swacharan Mrita, it would be better for me to give him shelter at my lotus feet. Vishaya Bhulaiba, I shall cause him to forget all material desires. So here is where Krishna is saying, I shall cause him to forget all material desires. Kama lagi Krishna bhaje. If one engages in the service of the Lord for sense gratification, Paya Krishna rase, the result is that he ultimately gets a taste for serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Kama chadi dasa hoite hoy abhilashi. He then gives up all material desires and wants to become an eternal servant of the Lord. Okay, so any comments? Anybody? Yes. Okay, so the next verse. यद्यत्र न स्वर्ग सुखावेशितम सुखावशेषितम स्विष्टस्य सुक्तस्य कृतस्य शोभनम तेनाज्नाभे स्मृतिमा जन्म न यस्याद वर्षे हरिर्यद्भजताम शमतनोति. We are now living in the heavenly planets, undoubtedly as a result of having performed ritualistic ceremonies. So demigods are saying this. We are living in heavenly planets. Pious activities and yagnas and having studied the Vedas. So we have done all this. So we are now reaping the fruit of our pious activities. We are now in heavenly planets. However, our lives here will one day be finished. But they are saying, yes, even though we are in such a nice situation, one day our life will be finished. We pray that at that time, if any merit remains from our pious activities, we may again take birth in Bharatvarsha as human beings, able to remember the lotus feet of the Lord. So the next life they want to be born in Bharatvarsha, in India, as Prabhupada has translated. So they want to take birth again in India. If they get another birth, the Lord is so kind that He personally comes to the land of Bharatvarsha and expands the good fortune of its people. So Krishna specifically comes to this Bharatvarsha, all the incarnations, right? So many. Krishna, like in the Nectar of Instruction, the last verse it says, yeah, this, what does it say? Of all the places, which is the best? Vaikuntha, right? Of all the places, Vaikuntha is the best. But then, better than Vaikuntha is Mathura, because Krishna personally comes there. Better than Mathura is Mathura, Krishna was born. Better than Mathura is Vrindavan. Vaikuntaj, Vaikuntaj Janito Varamadhu. Uh, because of birth in Mathura, Vara Madhupuri, Tatrapi Rasotsavad. So, Vaikunta Janita Vara. Vara means better or best. Girivar. So, Vara, better than Vaikuntha is Madhupuri, because that is where Krishna is Janita. He took his birth there. Vrindaranyam Udarapani Ramanath. And Vrindaranyam, the forest of Vrindavan. Udarapani. Udarapani, that is Lord Krishna's name. Udarapani. Ramanath, because of various kinds of loving pastimes, Vrindavan is better. Tatrarpi Govardhanaha. So in Vrindavan, Krishna performed his pastimes. Prabhupada says here, superior to Mathurapuri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan because of Krishna's Ras Lila pastimes. Then Tatrapi Govardhana. Then higher than that is Govardhan. Why? And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan hill, for it was raised by divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. Okay. Radha Kunda Mihapi Gokulapate Premamrita Plavanat. And then better than Govardhan is Radha Kund, because for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prem of the Lord of Gokul, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radha Kund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan hill? Okay, so earth is very fortunate, and on earth Mathura is very good, and better than Mathura is Vrindavan. Better than Vrindavan is Govardhan, and better than Govardhan is Radha Kund. That's how Rupa Goswami says. But of course, any place is all good. Vrindavan is also good. Mathura is also good. If we get the association of devotees. Krishna says, I don't live in Vrindavan, I don't live here, I don't live there. I live where my devotees are discussing about me. So if even in Vrindavan you are living, but you are not hearing Krishna Katha, you are not in the right consciousness, then that's not Vrindavan. So Vrindavan is a place also, but Vrindavan is also a state of consciousness. So here he's saying, it is certainly as a result of pious activities that one takes birth in the heavenly planets. But from those planets, one must nevertheless come down again to earth. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Shine Punyam Martya Lokam Vishanti. Okay, so when your punya runs out in the heavenly planets, your time to enjoy has come to an end. Then you die, and then you come back to the earth, which is called Martya Lokam. Because everything is Martya Lokam. Because Krishna says, Ah Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. Right from Brahma Lok down to lowest planets, all are Martya Lok. This is the planet of death. But earth is specifically considered because Earth lifespan is very short compared to sometimes demigods are called Amara. Amar means they don't die because they live for a long time. Like we can say Brahma is Amar because from our point of view, Brahma lives such a long time that is almost like immortal. But they're not really immortal. So they live for a long time, but then one day it comes to an end. So this is the difference between a devotee and a materialist. Devotee wants to seek a permanent situation, whereas materialist is interested in making a nice temporary situation. He wants to make a nice temporary situation and he spends all his energy for that nice temporary situation. He invests all his time to make a nice temporary material situation, whereas devotee is not interested in a temporary situation. Even though it may be very long, but it's still temporary. He is interested in a permanent situation. So, because demigods also will die at the end of their lifespan. So, nevertheless, the demigods desire to come to the land of Bharatvarsha if even a small portion of the merits of their pious activities remain. So, they are praying to the Lord. If something still remains after we enjoyed some pious activities, give us birth in the land of India. In other words, to take birth in Bharatvarsha, one must perform more pious activities than the demigods. In Bharatvarsha, one is naturally so many people are born in Bharatvarsha. In Bharatvarsha, one is naturally Krishna conscious, and if one further cultivates his Krishna consciousness, by the grace of Krishna, he certainly expands his good fortune by becoming perfect in Krishna consciousness and very easily going back home, back to Godhead. So in Bharatvarsha, we have this good fortune of, automatically Vedic knowledge is running in our blood, you could say, kind of. Because you hear about this right from your very childhood. Next, it is easy to accept Krishna as God. It's easy to accept that there is next life, and easy to accept the law of karma. Whereas outside, even the basic knowledge that I am not this body is difficult to understand. So that is why birth in India is considered very fortunate because just with the birth you get all this. Somehow it is there in the land and in the environment. So many temples in India, Vrindavan, 5,000 temples. So in Kumbh Mela, like so many people want to get spiritual benefit, whatever they want to get, but they are going to, millions are going, right, to Kumbh Mela. And it is the largest gathering. So already that inclination for spiritual life runs in the blood of those born in the land of Bharatvarsha. So, in many other, what's Prabhupada is saying, in many other places in the Vedic literature, it is found that even the demigods want to come to this land of Bharatvarsha. A foolish person may desire to be promoted to heavenly planets as a result of his pious activities, but even the demigods from the heavenly planets want to come to Bharatvarsha and achieve the bodies that may be very easily used to cultivate Krishna consciousness. So, yeah, so India is actually meant for spiritual advancement. West is meant for material advancement. So all the inventions have happened in the West, right? Mostly, all the technology and all these things. This is coming from the West, whereas India is meant because Indians, of course, now everybody is in technology and all these things, but uh, earlier they were not so much interested in this. Technology means working with machines and all these things. They were interested in how to elevate their consciousness, how to get out of this material world, how to attain moksha. This was the kind of culture. So so not many inventions happened in India because they were not, and a lot of people came to India, and India was very rich also at one time, and Columbus also wanted to come to India, and there was a very prosperous culture and like that, which was then somehow ruined by external influences and fighting amongst the kings. But and the Mughals came and all these things happened. Many people converted to Islam, you know, because of the threat. So, but and also another thing is when you don't have knowledge, it's only based on sentimentalism, then you cannot stay on it. So Indians have faith, but they don't actually read the Bhagavad Gita. They don't actually kind of understand this knowledge intellectually, with intelligence. It is more like a sentimental thing. So that's why you can't stay on that platform for long. The sentimental platform, you can't stay for long. So only when your intelligence is convinced about the goal of life can you pursue this practice. But still, because of the tradition and so many things, it was passed from generation to generation, and so many people were religious. But with coming of Prabhupada, it changed the whole thing. I mean, Prabhupada came and he wrote his books, and these books really give us the actual understanding. You know, Otherwise, so many people are confused about what is the purpose of life, why am I here, and who is God really. There are so many gods in India, and so many gurus who claim to be God. So everybody is confused. But now with Bhagavad Gita as it is, Prabhupada's books, so many people are taking up because they get clear understanding of this. So we owe it to Prabhupada. So, so as a result of his path, even the demigods from the heavenly planets want to come to Bharatvarsha and achieve bodies that may be very easily used to cultivate Krishna consciousness. So they want to achieve bodies. The body is also based on body in the land of India is meant for austerity, tapasya, and for making spiritual progress. Bodies in other parts of the world is meant for, especially in the West, is meant for material enjoyment. So, like when we read the astrological chart, right? We say where he was born, what the what the time, what the place of birth is, what the time, what the date. So everything is taken into account, right? So place of birth. Why place of birth is important? Because that also influences. Of course, you are born based on your past karma in some certain place, but so, therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu repeatedly says, Bharat Bhumite Hoila Manushya Janmayar, Janma Sartak Kari, Karo Paropkar. A human being born in the land of Bharatvarsha has the special prerogative to develop Krishna consciousness. Therefore, those already born in Bharatvarsha should take lessons from Shastras and Guru and should fully take advantage of the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in order to be fully equipped with Krishna. So, we can understand this knowledge very easily, the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. We can practice it, and then we should share it with others who don't have this knowledge. By taking, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants everybody to go back home, back to Godhead, and God wants everybody to become happy. So because we are His children, as every father wants his child to become happy, God also wants every one of us to become very happy. So, but we can only be happy in a loving relationship with God. That's the only way. Materially happy, yeah, we can become material happy, but it will not satisfy the heart, the soul, because the soul is looking for Krishna. We have a connection with Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna, not of any demigod. Krishna is saying, Mame Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhutasana. Mame Vamsho. You are my part and parcel. We are not part and parcel of Brahma or Shiva or anybody else, Durga or. We are part and parcel of Krishna. So when the part serves the whole, then the part becomes fully nourished and healthy. So that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants us to become devotees. So he is also showing by his own example. By taking full advantage of Krishna consciousness, one goes back home, back to Godhead. Yanti Madhya Jino Pimam. And in this material world, there is no happiness. It is only struggle and there is some shadow of happiness. That's the only thing. You have to struggle, and you think that you have now got some happiness, and then it is taken away. When disease comes, old age comes, then that's taken away. So like that. So we try to establish a temporary situations. We work so hard to establish a temporary situation, and then we have to leave that temporary situation and go. The Jnani, he thinks, why should I work so hard to establish a temporary situation which I anyway have to leave? Does it make sense? Why should I work so hard, which I have to quit anyway? So that's why they're not interested in working hard for establishing a temporary situation. As the fruitive workers, the karmis are very interested in adjusting this material world, in, so that it becomes a nice, happy place. But it is temporary, anytime. So why spend all the energy in that? That is what the intelligent people they think. The Krishna conscious movement is therefore spreading this facility to human society by opening many, many centers all over the world so that people may associate with pure devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement, understand the science of Krishna consciousness, and ultimately go back home, back to Godhead. So it is like an embassy, a spiritual embassy, where you get your visa and you board the plane and you go back out of this. Like you can say the material world is like Afghanistan, right? In Afghanistan, when Taliban took over, so many people wanted to get out of Afghanistan because they were like just desperate. They knew what is coming, what is going to come, right? Under Taliban's rule, what is going to come. So they were very desperate to get out. Some people could get out, some people couldn't. So, but here there is no such limitation. Everybody can get out if they take shelter of Krishna. So this is the spiritual embassy. Maybe they flooded the US embassy because they wanted to come to US as a refugee or something like that. So so we have the ISKCON temple as a spiritual embassy where you can actually become qualified, you can get your visa to go back to the spiritual world. So so like that. Of course, any place, your home can be also. But yeah, Prabhupada says we are establishing many centers all over the world, so that people may associate with pure devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement. So anybody who is living in the temple is supposed to be a pure devotee, because then outside people will come, get association with the pure devotees, they understand Krishna consciousness, and ultimately go back home, back to Godhead. Okay, so that is how this movement started. Prabhupada started this for this purpose. Everywhere Prabhupada says they are going back home, back to Godhead, and ultimately go back home, back to Godhead. So when miseries come in our life, then we will say, Krishna, I don't want this body. Please take me out of this body. I am so much suffering in this body. I have seen personally also, so many people say like that. I don't want to be now. Please take me out. So before that you have some nice time. So we become captivated by the material world. Then slowly the situation becomes worse and worse. And hospital visits increase, doctor visits increase, body starts failing. Of course, you may say some people die in their sleep suddenly, all of a sudden. Yeah, but still it is temporary. You may, if you have good karma, maybe, or something like that, you may not have prolonged illness, but you may die. But still, you have to die. You have to all. And one another thing is you don't get notice to prepare for your death. Right? So if you have some ailment, sometimes it may be a good situation because now you can prepare your consciousness. You have time to remember Krishna. If you die all of a sudden, then whatever you are thinking of, whatever you are attached to in your sleep before, that's where you are going in your next life. It may not be like very troublesome, but then you may not have prepared your consciousness and you go into next life. And somebody has a little bit more time, he knows that death is coming, then he can prepare. Of course, for all of us, death is coming. Parikshit Maharaj asked this question: what is the duty of a person who is about to die? Which pertains to all of us, because we are about to die in a few years. So, what is the duty? So, what answer Shukdev Goswami, or what did, I think this question was asked by the sages of, or maybe Parikshit Maharaj asked this question: what is the duty of a person who is about to die? So we can know from Parikshit Maharaj's example that he was about to die, and what did he do? He just absorbed himself in Krishna through the Bhagavatam. So we are all in that situation, right? We don't know. Prabhupada says Parikshit Maharaj had 7 days to live, but we don't know if you have 7 moments to live. So how much we should be more serious even than Parikshit Maharaj. He said like that in one class. We should be even more serious because we don't know how much time we have left. So we should be more serious. So instead of becoming serious, we become distracted by all these different things that are happening, which has no ultimate consequence in the long run. So, okay, because it does not solve the basic problem. And even like yesterday, we were reading how in the mode of goodness, the scientists, they feel very great happiness, but they become attached to it. They become attached to their situation in this material world. So they don't have a desire to get out. So if your karma is good in the mode of goodness, then you become attached to that your situation, and you don't see death is coming and how you'll go to the next life. When situation may be nice, may not be nice, like that. So we all become attached to our situation. And that's why mode of goodness also, Krishna says, conditions you to a sense of happiness in this material world. Because you are pious and you're not doing sinful activities, so you feel, yeah, everything is good. Why do I need God in my life? There are many pious people who do not take to bhakti. They are not doing sinful activities. Though they are following the 4 regulative principles, they are not doing. But they are attached to this material world for enjoyment. They feel a sense of happiness in this world. So they don't actually surrender to Krishna. Okay, so that's the verse we were reading yesterday from Bhagavad Gita. Okay, anybody else has any comments? Or so this is all glorification of Bharatvarsha. So we'll just finish this last 2 verses. This chapter is over. Sri Shukdev Goswami said, my dear king, in the opinion of some learned scholars, 8 smaller islands surround Jambudvipa. When the sons of Maharaj Sagar, it is not Sagar, it is Sagar, because there is no long A on the top of. When the sons of Maharaj Sagar were searching all over the world for their lost horse, they dug up the earth, and in this way, 8 adjoining islands came into existence. The names of these islands are Swarna Prashta, Chandra Shukla, Avartan, Ramanak, Mandara Harina, Panchajanya, Simala, and Lanka. So we read this story, right? How the horse was stolen. Who stole the horse? And what did they do to the horse? Anybody knows? When?
Took the horse to the Kapil Muni ashram. Tied it there.
Yeah. And who was this?
He was what?
Who stole the horse?
Indra stole the horse.
Indra stole the horse. Okay, a lot of questions. Yeah, so Indra stole the horse and he took it to Kapila Muni's ashram. And then the sons of Maharaj Sagar, they came there and then they were burnt up. So, like that. And then, of course, Ganga came. In the Kurva Puran, there is the statement about the desires of the demigods. Anadhikarino devaha swargastha bharatodbhavam vanchanti atma vimokshartha mudrekarte adhikarinaha. Although the demigods are situated in exalted positions in heavenly planets, they nevertheless desire to descend to the land of Bharatvarsha on the planet Earth. So they want to come here. Those who are here, they want to go there. And those who are there, they want to come here. There's always, in the material world, grass on the other side always appears green. We always think, oh, other persons are in better situation. And they are thinking of some other situation. So this is always like that. This indicates that even the demigods are unfit to reside in Bharatvarsh. Therefore, if persons already born in Bharatvarsh live like cats and dogs, not taking full advantage of their birth in this land, they are certainly unfortunate. So after getting a birth in the land of Bharatvarsha, and you don't capitalize on it, it is very unfortunate. That is what this is saying. This verse is saying. Okay, the next verse, last verse. My dear King Parikshit, O best of the descendants of Bharat Maharaj, I have thus described to you, as I myself have been instructed, the island of Bharatvarsha and its adjoining islands. These are the islands that constitute Jambudvipa. Okay. Next is the studying the structure of the universe, which may be difficult to understand. But so we can read something. Today is Srivas Pandit's. What is the Tithi today? Let me see. Vaishnav calendar. So we can read something about Srivas Pandit. If it is 22nd. Srivas Pandit's appearance. So let's see. Hear about Srivas Pandit. Srivas Pandit is who?
Narad Muni.
Narad. Yes. Srivas Pandit. Is anybody there? Anybody else there on the call?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah.
So let's read something about Srivas Pandit. Since today is his Tithi, his appearance day.
Is it faster until noon today, by any chance, or
No, there is no fasting.
yes or no?
No, there is no
Okay.
fasting. I mean, on the Vaishnav calendar, it is not there because if that would be, then we would be fasting most of the days because there is.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Just checking.
Yeah, that's why they probably didn't put. Yeah, there is no fasting mentioned. But if somebody wants to fast, then that's okay also. Because Srivas Pandit is Narad Muni, he is a pure devotee. So let's see. We'll read some pastimes of Srivas. Okay, Srivas Pandit also here. He's the fifth member of Panchatattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi, Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Lived in Navadvip before the advent of Lord Chaitanya. Okay. So he was elder to Lord Chaitanya. Srivas led his brothers, Sri Ram, Sri Nidhi, and Sripati. He had three brothers. In their devotional lives of singing Krishna's names, worshipping the Lord, and bathing thrice daily in the Ganges. So, as the exemplary brother, he led his other brothers. So, as an elder brother, maybe he was elder or not, but he was giving Krishna consciousness. He led his brothers into worshipping, and they were living on the bank of Ganges. Meeting with Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, they studied Bhagavatam and prayed for an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. So Srivas Thakur also prayed. Haridas Thakur also prayed. Advaita Acharya prayed. Why did they pray? Because only an avatar of Krishna could re-establish Vaishnavism among the staunch atheists, logicians, and proud pandits harassing Nadia at that time. Malini, the wife of Srivas, was a constant friend of Sachi Devi. So Malini and Sachi Mata had good friendship. She served Nimai as a nurse. So she was nurturing Nimai. When Lord Vishwambar appeared, the heart of all devotees filled with parental affection, Vatsalya Bhav, Gaurachandra loved Malini and Srivas as second mother and father. Srivas again was located 200 yards north of Nimai's Bari. Bari means house. In Bengali, that's a Bari. So Srivas Angan was close to, which is today also, right? If you go to the place where Lord Chaitanya took, but Srivas Angan is very close by. Srivas Pandit's palatial home had large, comfortable rooms, a high protective boundary wall, and a lush, densely foliated gardens and groves. Every night, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu and his dearest friends would enjoy ecstatic kirtans and taste the mellows of Vrindavan. So in Srivas Thakur's house, at every night, there would be nocturnal kirtan. Because Mahaprabhu said, why are we wasting time at night sleeping? Like Prabhupada said yesterday, if one sleeps more than 6 hours, he is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Like that he said. So sleeping is required, but not too much sleeping. It may be 6, 7, maybe at the most 8, but not too much than the mode of, unless you have a health condition, that's different. But sometimes when you're depressed, then you sleep more also. So, or you have anxiety, you can't sleep. That's another thing. So you have to take something to sleep. But sleep is only as much necessary as to rejuvenate the body. Because Prabhupada said sleeping in one sense is like wasting time. Because you cannot be conscious of Krishna. You cannot do some active service to Krishna. You cannot chant the holy name like that. So many things. You cannot preach. So if you sleep too much, then it is tamogun. So here the raging Muslims Qazi broke the sacred Mridanga in his foolish attempt to stop Sri Krishna's Sankirtan movement. So one day Qazi came and broke the Mridanga. Henceforward Srivas Angan was known as Kholbhanga Danga, place where the Mridanga was broken. We still have that broken Mridanga in Srivas. It may not be the same Mridanga, I don't know if it is, but there is a broken Mridanga in Srivas Angan. The Qazi passed an ordinance prohibiting Sankirtan. Violators would be converted to Muslim faith and lose their property. So anybody who chants will lose their property and they would become Muslims. And although most Nadiavasis panicked over this, Srivas Pandit laughed at the fanatical law. When within Srivas Angan, Lord Gauranga Sundar showed his divine form to all his eternal associates. So everybody was afraid except Srivas Pandit, or many were afraid. The house of Srivas Pandit served as the headquarters of Gauranga's Sankirtan movement. The daily Bhagavatam classes, nightly kirtans, and many confidential Vraj pastimes of Lord Gaura Rai occurred here. So in Srivas Thakur's house, at night and also during the day, one time Lord Chaitanya adopted the mood of Lord Nrsingadev, like that. So, and He became so angry. So many Nityan Prabhu's worship happened here. The Vyas Puja in Srivas Thakur's house. I think that's where it happened. And so everyday Bhagavatam classes, kirtans, Vraj pastimes, all these things were going on. It's a very holy place. It's the Rasasthali of Chaitanya's Leela, or equivalent to Krishna's Vrindavan Leela, Ras Leela. And yeah, so Srivas Pandit and Sri Advaita Acharya, the learned chiefs of Brahmin community, dedicated all their energy to the Lord's Harinam Sankirtan movement. They surrendered their bodies, minds, homes, friends, families, and all possessions to Lord Gaura's service. They knew no other gods or goddesses. Srivas Pandit maintained his family not because they were his relatives, but because they were Krishna Chaitanya's loving servants. Srivas Pandit represents the marginal entity, Tatashta Jiva. The devotees headed by Srivas are described as Lord Chaitanya's smaller limbs. His face, eyes, hands, disc, other weapons. They all took part in Sri Gaurasundar's pastimes. With them, Lord Gauranga spread the Sankirtan movement. Srivas Pandit is Narad Muni, an intergalactic preacher and constant associate of the Lord. His samadhi is in the 64 samadhis area. So this is Srivas Thakur's house. Okay. So in the verse Panchatattvatkam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupam Bhakta Avtaram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. That Bhakta Akhyam is Srivas Pandit. The devotee, like Bhakta Swarup is Lord Nityananda and all this. Panchatattvam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupam Bhakta Avtaram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So that is the verse. Okay. Let's see. Any other thing? It was in Srivas Pandit's house that Sri Chaitanya enacted his pastimes of Sankirtan. These four brothers, Srivas, Sriram, Sripati, and Srinidhi, were constantly engaged. Sriram, Sripati, and Srinidhi in singing names of Sri Krishna. These four brothers previously lived in the district of Srihatta. Later on, they came to reside on the bank of Ganges. And so they regularly used to hear Bhagavatam. They went to Advaita Acharya's house to hear Bhagavatam. And like that. So, and they became close friends. Okay. Anything else? So there is other pastimes which Srivas. Lord Chaitanya told Srivas. What did he say? Srivas, you have such a big family, but what?
Why are you not working?
Yeah, how are you maintaining? I don't see. You have such a big family and you don't have any job. And so we'll read that. How are you? Once Lord Chaitanya asked Srivas Pandit, I do not see you going anywhere to earn livelihood. You have a big family, and so how you maintain them? Srivas Pandit replied, in my heart I do not have any desire to go anywhere. Whatever is destined will come to me anyway. Ajgar Vritti. And then Srivas clapped 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So he clapped. Three times, he clapped 3 times. What does it mean? Lord inquired. If 3 times food does not come to me, I will fast and I will tie a water pot to my neck and drown myself in the Ganges. Hearing this extreme vow, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was astonished. He was saying that if the Lord does not provide, then I will go and drown myself in the Ganges. So The Lord said, why should you fast, Srivas? Even if Goddess Lakshmi becomes poverty stricken, still poverty will not enter your house. So devotees don't have to worry. That's basically, if you are surrendered to Krishna. The lesson we learn from this is that if you are dedicated to Krishna fully, like so many devotees are dedicated, they are not doing a job or anything like that. Still they are, engaged fully in Krishna's service. So they have no anxiety and they are feeling very happy. So that's the point. Shiva's Pandit, even if Goddess Lakshmi becomes poverty stricken, poverty will not enter. Shiva's Pandit vow was not based on some sort of sentiment. He, along with his family members, used to remain absorbed in chanting the holy names of the Lord entire day and night. Being a pure devotee of the Lord, he was well aware that the Supreme Lord is the maintainer of all living beings of the universe. And moreover, Shiva's Pandit's house, although was in the material world, but it was in fact a part of the spiritual world. Because Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Lord, personally used to come to his house, and in his house, the holy names of the Lord continuously reverberated. And we know that in kingdom of Lord, no one has to work hard for their maintenance. In the spiritual world, it's not like everybody has to go and do job in the morning and to get there. In spiritual abode, everyone just serves the Lord and experiences complete satisfaction while doing so. Bhagavad Gita 9:22, Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana pariyupasate tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam. The more we give time to the Lord arranges our life in such a way that we have more time. So basically that's what it is. If we give time and thing, then actually everybody can live in the temple and they give their full time to the Lord. Right? From morning till evening, you can just do devotional activities. Go out, that's what they were doing. And money was coming like pouring. That's how Krishna consciousness movement spread. So only when we have separate desires to enjoy, then all the trouble starts. Then we have to struggle. So to those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. Lord has promised that he personally takes care of his unalloyed devotees. Haridas Thakur was not allowed inside the Jagannath temple, but Lord Chaitanya came and gave him. Narad Muni, the Mrigari, right? He was saying, if I give up hunting, then how will I maintain my family? And then he chanted Hare Krishna, and Durvasa Muni told the Pandavas that he was going to come there. And Draupadi remembered Lord Krishna, and then all the things was satisfied. So extremely pleased by the devotion of Sri. So he says, when Krishna is satisfied, everyone is satisfied. As soon as we bring Krishna in our life, then we will not remain deprived of anything. In the material world, all necessities, which is a must for our survival, has been arranged by the Lord. The water which we drink, the air we breathe, the food we eat, has not invented by any mortal beings, but has been given to us by the Supreme Lord. Extremely pleased by devotion of Srivas Pandit, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, to anyone who always meditates on me with exclusive devotion, I carry arms for them on my head. Anyone who meditates on me need never leave his door. All perfections will come to him automatically. Piety, wealth, happiness, and liberation will come to him. My servant need not ask for them. They will never leave my servant. My Sudarshan Chakra will always protect my servant. Even when all the universes are destroyed, he will not perish. Whoever remembers my devotee, I will feed and protect. The servant of my servant is very dear to me. Without even trying, he easily attains me. Why should he worry about food? I personally feed my servant. Srivas, you happily stay where you are. I'll bring everything to your door. Okay, so that happened multiple times in all this. And we can see it happening in today's time also. With all these devotees who are not having any job, anything like that. And they are traveling and they are preaching. And where are they getting all their money? Krishna is providing. Right? So if we become engaged in Krishna's service with all our consciousness, full heart and purity, Krishna will give everything. So that is the thing. Of course, we may say, how Krishna, who will give me food? Where will food come from if I just... Yeah, if you live in the temple, you'll get food. But prasadam, if you do some service, you can get food. Now you may say, well, the temple is being maintained by congregational members who are giving money. But we should never think that I'm maintaining the temple. Because if I don't come and give money, somebody else will come and give. Krishna will inspire somebody else. So it is not that because of me the temple is going on and I am contributing. No, we should never think like that. Devotees of Krishna are maintaining, of course, we give credit to devotees, but the devotee should never feel that because of me. And we should not think because of me, because we have a job and we are getting money because we have intelligence, some intelligence, which is also given by Krishna. Right? If we don't remember anything, let's say I forgot everything of my Java programming or SAP programming or SAP, everything, whatever field you are in, or mechanical engineering, who's going to employ you? So, where is that remembrance? Why is it retained? We take it for granted that yes, my memory is there, but even doctors, right, if they forget all their knowledge and everything, then where is the money? No, nobody will employ you, no money will come. So indirectly it is Krishna who's maintaining. Now you may say, well, it is because of my karma that I've got this intelligence. Yes, but karma is given by somebody. Karma, there is somebody, it is not, karma is not happening on its own. There is somebody who is giving the results of karma. So that is Krishna. That's why Krishna can change your karma if he wants. Yesterday we were reading how our karma can change. Kutam bijam falonmukham. Like that. So desires can change by Krishna consciousness. So Krishna can do anything he wants. Sometimes people say, no, karma is, you cannot get rid of this. That doesn't mean Krishna cannot do that. If he wants to get rid of the prarabdha karma, he can. He can get rid of it if he wants. Anything he can do. He's not bound by any, he's an inconceivable power and he's not bound by any such laws or anything like that. He's Swarat also. So Krishna wants, he can do anything. So that's the thing. So that's how we should. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you everyone for joining this morning. Anybody has